لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is Riad Ouarzazi. Welcome you all to Homemade Happiness. Ya hala wa marhaba. Ya hala wa marhaba. Bismillah. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum all. MashaAllah la quwwata illa billah. This session is for the youth. If you have any youth, if you have any, and all of you are youngsters, mashallah, but children, youth, call them. We're going to record it anyways, but this is mostly for the youth. I called it Youth and Illegal or Haram Sexual Relationships. So it's going to be tense or intense, but all within the Islamic etiquettes, inshallah ta'ala. So I'm just going to give a minute or two for more people to join, so that we can start, inshallah. But in the meantime, I hope you're all doing great. Wa alaikum salam, all of you. Happy to see you guys. So if not to see you, I don't know, I don't see you, but happy that you're back, and I hope you're staying, everybody's staying safe, inshallah ta'ala, and healthy. May Allah bless you all. May Allah keep you safe all and protect you all. All right, so we're starting, inshallah ta'ala. Again, today is episode number 17 from our Homemade Happiness. And today is about the youth. So I've got Instagram live right here, and I've got Facebook live up there. Everybody's welcome. Wa alaikum assalam, all of you. Jazakumullah khair for joining. And again, if you know of any youth, call them, let them log in. It's going to be a very intense session, inshallah ta'ala, because we're going to be talking about something quite delicate, youth and sexual relationships. I apologize for missing out the tafsir today. Something personal happened, subhanallah, just at home. I had to deal with some stuff that broke into my house. I just have to attend to stuff, just at home. Remember, just regular stuff, but it just happened in the wrong time. So I had to attend to and fix whatever that was broken. Jazakumullah khair for joining. But so I apologize for today's session. The tafsir session. We'll pick it up, inshallah ta'ala, on Friday, bi'idhnillah. Other than that, I'm ready to start, inshallah. May Allah Azza wa Jal bless you all. May Allah Azza wa Jal reward you all. All right, so today we're going to talk about the youth. We finished talking about we talked in all these series, right? All these episodes, we talked to everyone, right? We talked, we shared with you principles, and we shared with you foundations on how to have a homemade happiness, right? But today, inshallah ta'ala, will be quite special, because today it's about the youth. And I do feel it's not, it's very hard when you are in my position, in my place, trying to talk, right, about a very settled issue, right, an issue that is quite sensitive, and then you have to make it, halal, of course, because we're, talking, it's Islamic talk, but at the same time you have to attend to these issues and mention them and talk about them. They are quite very sensitive, but we have to talk about them. And today is about the youth and sexual relationships, right? Youth and haram, illegal, sexual relationships, and what is sex in Islam? What does it mean? This is why I said it's very maybe uncomfortable, talking about it, but at the same time, we have to mention it. We have to touch up on these topics and give to the youth and to everybody. Give them some ma'ani, meanings of what does Islam, in fact, when we talk about sex, what does it represent in Islam? What is it? Is it just like a a relationship, or is it some sort of a sacred relationship? What is it? So this is why, today's session will be quite interesting, inshallah ta'ala. It's all recorded. If you know of any youth later on, or loved ones, you can always, inshallah ta'ala, forward it to them and share it with them. But anyways, in this series, I said, we spoke to everyone. We spoke to the husbands and the wives and the dads and the moms and the brothers and the sisters, siblings. We spoke to everyone. And the very end, inshallah ta'ala, of this homemade happiness, I still envision about maybe 2 or 3 more sessions before we're done with with this series, so we can start a new series again, inshallah. We want to talk about الشباب والجنس. In Arabic, it's called الشباب والجنس, youth and sexual relationships. A talk from the depth of my heart, talking to the youth, talking to those, talking to the air that we breathe, the future carriers of the flag of La ilaha illallah, the youth. Youth prior of marriage, al-shabab before marriage. But the thing is, when we talk about sexual relationships, it is something that even those who are married, astaghfirullah, sometimes they fall into. It's a trap. They fall into, yes, sexual relationships. So I'm talking to the youth because the topic of today is just about the youth and illegal or haram sexual relationships. I'm talking from the bottom of my heart because I love you all for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I love you all for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. So please don't, just bear with me and be patient with me, inshallah ta'ala. Bear with me and be patient with me, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, in Surah Al-Imran. Surah Al-Imran, verse number 14. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ. Beautified it is for man. Beautified it is for man the love of things they covet. The love of things they covet. I am sorry, my brothers and sisters, if the sound is not on Instagram. I don't know. People on Facebook, can you hear me just fine? Kiko Leblanc. Kiko Leblanc, can you hear me just fine on Facebook? Hamida Catherine Osman. Hanifa Catherine Guzman, and who else on Facebook? Nadia Nadim, Miriana Muhammad. How's the sound on Facebook, please? Is the sound fine? The sound is fine on Facebook. Facebook is fine. Julie baby is fine. Said it's fine. So I don't understand. So sometimes problem with Facebook, sometimes problem with Instagram. Allahul Musta'an. I don't understand. So let me end this and come back, inshallah ta'ala. Right? Let me end the session on Instagram and come back, inshallah. So I'm gonna come back on Instagram. I don't know. Let me go back again live. There we go. I just went back live on Instagram, so sorry. Let's see. Because they were complaining about the sound on Instagram, but Facebook is apparently fine, alhamdulillah. So, what is it? Allahu A'lam. Allahu A'lam. I don't know. These things on social media, they play up. I have no idea. But today again, it's a very important session. So how is it going now? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How is it going now? Sound, same. It's the same. So please complain to Instagram, all right? Complain to Instagram. I have no idea why it's doing that. Allahu A'lam. طيب anyways بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. I'm really bearable. Okay طيب خلاص إن شاء الله تعالى. It's not if you have a problem you can always switch back to Facebook. Facebook they can hear me just fine, right? Facebook they can hear me just fine. Instagram there's a problem today. I have no idea why. Allahu a'lam. But anyways, let me go back to the topic. The topic is about homemade happiness, but today is solely purely for the youth, and we call it the youth and sexual relationships. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran in Surah Al-Imran verse number 14, زين للناس حب الشهوات من النساء والبنين والقناطير المقنطرة. Beautified it is for men the love of things they covet. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, amongst these things that they can covet, He mentions حب الشهوات, the love of desires, temptations, things such as, Allah Azza wa Jal mentions, things such as women and nisa, things such as al-banin, children, wal-qanatir al-muqantara. So it is an instinct, it is an inclination, it is something of interest. When the youth, since we're talking about the youth, when the youth they reach an age of the adolescence age, since we're talking about that adolescence age, that's a very, very critical age. They have this inclination towards the other sex. A boy will have interest on a girl, and a girl will have that interest on a boy. It's very, very normal. It is not only like boys who have interest in girls. Don't be mistaken. Do not be mistaken thinking that only boys have or show interest at girls, but also girls, they have the same inclination. It just may be girls, they are more, mashallah, settled about it, and they're more wise about it, right? Whereas boys, they don't know how to deal with it much, right? So one day, my son told me, Baba, what would you do if you hear that I have a boyfriend, a girlfriend? Astaghfirullah, not a boyfriend. What would you do if you hear that I have or find out that I have a girlfriend? Once they start talking or asking these types of questions, they start, they reach an age, and us as parents sometimes we get agitated, right? Because they pressed on those buttons. So when they press on those buttons, and then they ask you these questions that could be or that cause you unrest and maybe this conflict of emotions, they cause you to be agitated. So a lot of parents do not know how to reply or how to deal with these issues. But there are issues. Our children, once they reach a certain age, we need to understand that they will have issues of interest of the other sex. Interest. They will show interest of the opposite sex, right? Girls will show interest to boys, and boys will show interest at girls. It's a natural inclination. It's just that Islam has put, alhamdulillah, guidelines on how to deal with them. But they are very, very normal, issues, because it is from our ghariza, it is from our natural instinct. It's just that Islam, alhamdulillah, has put some dawabit. What is dawabit? Some guidelines and principles on how to deal with these issues of the interest of sexual interest, you may call it. The experts, they say when youth, they reach the age of adolescence, we as parents, we need to start using a lot more than before, something that I have mentioned previously in these sessions, something called the language of compassion. The language of compassion, the language of love, more than anything else. Why? Because this language of compassion and this language of love will facilitate that process of dealing with our youth. Once they start, from inside, they have to, it's like I said, it's a feeling, it's a natural instinct. They will start paying attention at the other sex. The way they dress up, the way they talk, the way they would walk, girls, the way they dress up. Because when you ask a girl, about dressing up, she says, I dress up for myself. But boys don't look at it that way. Boys always, when they see a girl outside, half naked, dressed up, they say, go, boys, men in general, they all automatically, when they see a woman or a girl outside dressing up, in a very revealing way, they say she does that to, seduce men. To seduce men. But if you ask that same girl, she would tell you, I dress up for myself. I don't dress up for boys necessarily. I dress up for myself, or maybe for other girls like her. But for us men, for boys, we think differently. When we see a girl outside, dressing up in a very revealing way, we automatically say she's doing that to attract boys. Right? So this is the way we think. We think differently. But again, once we reach that age, when the youth reach that age of adolescence, they will start behaving differently. This is why I kept this topic all the way until the end. Why I spoke about the father, the friend. It will come handy here. Why I spoke about the role of the father. Why I spoke about the role of the mother. I spoke about the dad, the mom. I spoke about, the girl. Why I left this until the end? Because everything I spoke about previously will come in handy, now at this very particular moment, dealing with our youth once they reach this age of adolescence. Quickly, again, my brothers and sisters, those on Instagram, how is the sound? Because previously they were complaining about the sound. How's the sound, Sister Yashmin, now on Instagram? Is it okay or is it still distorted? Because on Facebook, it's all right, alhamdulillah. How is it on Instagram? How's the sound? How's the voice coming on Instagram? Is it still distorted? All right. Type in the way. Anyways, I just thought to check. So I have a message for the youth. I have a message for the youth. Altogether, maybe 2 or 3 messages for the youth. Something that they have to understand about sex. Since we're talking about, again, today, those of you who just joined, youth and illegal sexual relationships. This is the topic of today. Something that, me talk to the youth now, and I said I have a message for them. Message number 1 is Al-jins alaqa muqaddasa. They have to understand that sex is a sacred relationship. Sex is a sacred relationship. It is not just a relationship, no, it is a very sacred relationship. Or act. You may call it act, so relationship, but sex is very sacred. That's number 1. Number 2, and I will explain. This is just the topic or the titles, but then I will, inshallah ta'ala, go in more detail. Number 2, rest assured that harassment and flirting, whether, and the youth, they know what I'm talking about, whether online or offline, flirting is one of the ways that lead to sexual relationships. Flirting with girls or boys, right, will lead eventually to these illegal relationships or sexual relationships. What do I mean by intimacy is a sacred relationship? Listen to me what I'm going to say right now. This is extremely important. Listen to what I'm going to say right now. Marriage, it is not a one-on-one or one-to-one relationship. Marriage is not a one-to-one relationship. Marriage is a many-to-many relationship. What does that mean, many-to-many? You don't just marry your wife, you marry the whole family. You don't just marry your husband, you marry his entire family. So it's a family relationship now. You don't just married your wife, you married her family. What does that mean? You married the whole family. I only married her. Yes, only her, but she does not come alone, or he doesn't come alone. You have the whole family with the whole family. Right? The Khan married the Chaudhry. Right? The Khan married the Chaudhry. For instance, it is now the whole Khan family with the whole Chaudhry family being married. It is not like Imran with what's her name, with Fatima. Imran, no, it is not Imran and Fatima. It is the whole family married the whole family. Right? So this is what marriage is. Don't think marriage is one-to-one relationship. Marriage is many-to-many relationship. You know, you marry the whole family. The whole family is involved. That's why I said initially that intimacy, that sex is a sacred relationship. And it has to be done in a halal way, not in a haram way. Because of many reasons, which I'm going to mention, inshaAllah ta'ala, in the rest of the series, bi'idhnillah. You got to know her. You got to know her, right? You met her. And then you met her family. And your family was pleased with you. And for the brother, they made you suffer a little bit before they let you marry her. You didn't just go to the dad and said, I want to marry your daughter. And he says, yes, please take her. Please, thank you so much. Just take her. I will help you. I will give you the house. Just take her. And then we'll give you a job, and she comes with the house, she comes with the job, she comes with the car. My daughter comes with, the whole package. No. They make you suffer. They make you suffer. They don't just tell you, go and take our daughter like that. Fi sabilillah. There is no fi sabilillah in marriage. Unfortunately, there is no fi sabilillah in marriage. They made you suffer before you married her. More, in general. In general, maybe not in all cases, but in general. So your family got to know his family. Or your family got to know her family. And then they had an agreement. And then once you got married, you build your own family. You have your own usra, your own family. And then that family came, and then this is how generations have built or are built. One family after the family after the family comes generations. So that's why, again, I said that sex is a sacred relationship. Sacred. It is not just like an in vain. Because it is through that we have built these generations and families, not through halal, haram, illegal sexual relationships. No, it is through the halal relationships that we build generations. That's why I said it's very sacred. Adam and Hawa. From Adam and Hawa came the entire mankind. It was a sacred relationship between a man and a woman. This is why, subhanallah, Iblis, what does he want, shaitan? He wants you to commit zina. He does not want that halal relationship. No, Iblis wants zina. Iblis wants, he does not want it to be halal. He wants what we call zina, illegal relationship. He wants fornication. He makes things look so beautiful in the beginning. You start sending her messages and whatnot, and then she's opening up. And step by step, he wants to make you fall into the trap of zina. And my brothers and sisters, through zina, we cannot have a family. Through zina, we destroy family. We destroy generations. That's why I kept saying that sex is a sacred relationship, is a sacred act. Because if you were to choose now zina, you have chosen the way of shaitan. But if you chose halal relationship, halal intimacy, then you have chosen the way of Allah. Do you understand what I'm saying? To the youth, if you have chosen zina, then you have chosen the way of shaitan, because shaitan, that's what he wants. Shaitan wants zina. But if you chose halal sexual relationship, halal intimacy, then you have chosen the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way to build generations. The youth, they have to understand this. Yes, like I said, when they reach the age of adolescence, man or women or girls or boys, whatever, even man, we all have that ghariza, we all have that instinct, that sexual instinct. Allah has made it in us. But Allah Azza wa Jal has put guidelines on how to deal with it. If you're not married, what to do? If you're married, what to do? Right? This is what Allah Azza wa Jal put marriage. Allah Azza wa Jal did not put marriage just in vain. No, marriage, there is a reason for marriage. For the evolvement of generations. And that can only happen through halal, legal relationships. Not through zina. And see what's happening now with zina. Look what's happening in the world with zina, with fornication and adultery. We are not like animals. Are we? Astaghfirullah. No, we're not like animals. Allah Azza wa Jal has honored the mankind. And this man, Allah Azza wa Jal has honored the man. Animals, you find a dog, astaghfirullah, with another dog, or a she-dog, or a cat with she-cat, and a horse with she, astaghfirullah, and this and that. There's no aqd. There's no aqd, there's no contract. It's just like, But for man, it's different. We're not hayawan. We're not animals. Allah has honored us. So Allah Azza wa Jal has put in guidelines and directions or directives. You have something called the husband and the wife, the prospects, and then you have something called the father or the uncle, or who will be the wali, and then after the wali you have the two witnesses. It's a marriage. I said it's a sacred relationship. For this aqd to be valid, you have to fulfill certain criteria. And this criteria, you need to have the wali, you need to have the dowry or the gift for the wife, and you need to have two witnesses. Right? These are some of the elements that make that marital relationship halal. We're not animals. We're human beings. It is a sacred relationship and act. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Isra, verse number 62. Surah Al-Isra, verse number 62, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي كَرَّمْتَ عَلَيْهِ. Look what shaitan, the conversation, the dialogue between shaitan and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Isra. أَرَأَيْتَ هَذَا الَّذِي كَرَّمْتَ عَلَيْهِ لئن أخرتني إلى يوم القيامة لأحتنكن ذريته إلا قليلا. He's telling Allah Azza wa Jal, this one whom you have honored. يعني Shaitan is telling Allah Azza wa Jal about son of Adam. This one whom you have honored, O Allah, above me. Shaitan is talking about you and I will surely seize and mislead his offsprings. What? Shaitan is saying, he's making an oath. I will surely seize and mislead his offsprings. لَأَحْتَنِكَنَّ ذُرِّيَّتَهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. He's promising, he's making promises, he's making oath to make him fall into zina, to make son of Adam fall into adultery, into fornication. He does not want the halal relationship. And when the halal relationship comes, then shaitan start whispering. Remember what I mentioned yesterday? The most beloved act to shaitan is when the shayateen, they manage to have a man divorce his wife. That's the most beloved act to the big shaitan. So shaitan initially he wants man to fall into zina. And then he does not want anything halal. And when the halal comes, he wants to destroy it. When halal comes, he wants to destroy it. He wants mankind to live in a stray. He wants mankind to live in kharab. He wants mankind to live in zina wal iyadu billah. In dirt. Sisters and brothers, the youth out there, sex is not a game. Intimacy is not a game. Are you hearing me, sisters and brothers? Those of you on Facebook, are you hearing me? Those of you on Instagram, are you hearing me? Sex is not a game. We want this earth, as-salah, righteousness on earth. How, zina does not cause righteousness on earth. Zina causes, wal-iyadu billah, destroying of earth. Destruction of earth. Zina causes destruction of earth, not righteousness on earth. Our youth, you and I, all of us, we have to understand this. And now a small word to the sisters, to the girls. Girls, hear me out, please. All the girls out there, hear me out. You are so precious. All the daughters out there, those who are not married, even those who are married, you are very precious. You are very precious. As I said, if that guy who wants to marry you, he will have to make a lot of effort to marry you. He has to convince your dad or your brother. He has to put in lots of effort. Don't cheapen yourself out, sisters. Do not cheapen yourself out. I'm not saying don't cheapen yourself out like you ask for a huge dowry. No, I'm not talking about that. Please don't misunderstand me. Don't cheapen yourself out, meaning like he comes in, he meets you online. I love you. I want you. You know how it is. I love you. I want you. And he starts talking lies to you. And then you fall into that trap. And then, and you give yourself in. You give yourself in to him. Don't cheapen yourself like that. If he's serious, let he come through the door, not through the window. What does that mean? Through the door, not through the window. Yes, because he's trying to come through the window. If he says he's serious, then Bismillah, you're serious? Let's involve the parents. Come and ask my dad about me. Come and, and ask, make it sort of official. Don't keep on, sending this and sending that and telling me this and telling me that. And then he wants to meet me. He wants to go out with me. He wants to hold my hand. He wants to smile at me. He wants to look at this. He wants to look at that. He wants to kiss. And then at some point, at the end, what's going to happen? You fall into the trap of zina. And what happens after that, sisters and brothers, this is what's going to happen. After that, once he gets what he wants from you, astaghfirullah, excuse my language, he will dump you. A lot of them. He will dump you because it has not done in a halal way. If it is not done in a halal way, it will end in a haram way. I'm telling you. Once he gets what he wants from you, he will dump you. Don't cheapen yourself, sisters. Be careful. The Prophet Muhammad, look how sacred the intimacy is and the marriage is. He says, "A'linu nikah." A'linu, announce it. Announce it. Announce the marriage. People, they have to know that you are married. Announce the marriage. وَضْرِبُوا بِالدُّفُوفِ. And hit the drums. So celebrate. Nikah is sacred. Nikah is sacred. It's not just any relationship. No, it has to be known. It has to be announced. We have to be happy. We have to celebrate it. The Prophet says, أَضْرِبُوا الدُّفُوفِ. Hit the drums. It's nikah. It is sacred. He promised this and he promised that. He promised this and he promised you that. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Remember what I said? I said I kept this until the end because I spoke about so many things that all pour into this topic today. When I spoke about the dad, the friend, because especially girls, they have a river of emotions. And if their fathers or brothers did not feel that river of emotions and feelings, they will go out and look for someone who can fill those emotions, so that they will be easily, those girls will be easily misled and deviated and fall into the trap of those boys who made promises for them. I promise you this and I promise you that. And I promise you this and I promise you that. And he wants to meet you and he wants to see you. And he wants to go out with you. And he wants to hold your hand. And you are dreaming. You're dreaming that one day he will carry you. That one day he will run with you. That one day, just like, the Bollywood movie, you're running with your white gown and your white dress, and you're running like slow motion in the beach with your hair flying, and you're running and the water is splashing and he's coming, running as well from the other end. You're running this way and he's running the other way, slow motion. They're running and the guy's running in his horse. And you're running. You're running, and then you come and he hugs you and he takes you and he turns and he rides you and then he carries you and he throws you in the beach and you swim together. You're dreaming. Huh? You're dreaming. He made so many promises. Oh, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Sisters, be careful. Girls out there, be careful. Be careful. If something is done in haram, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never put any barakah in it. If some actions is done in haram, Allah will put no barakah in it because it's done in haram. And then what will happen, sister? Let me tell you what would happen. Once he gets what he wants from you, he will no longer call you. He will no longer return your calls. He will no longer return your text. He will no longer speak nice to you. He will only speak to you from time to time, throw things at you and this and that, because khalas, he got what he wanted from you in a haram way. He got what he wanted from you in a haram way. So things have changed. Now he's gonna go look for somebody else. Be careful. And you will be, because you have given in, of course you will be hurt. You will be devastated. You will be devastated. So I said again, one more time, sex, it is not a game. Sex, brothers and sisters, is a sacred relationship. It's a sacred act. Through it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala built these generations. Through this halal act, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala built these generations. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Anfal, verse number 27, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تخونوا الله ورسوله ولا تخونوا أماناتكم وأنتم تعلمون. O you who believe, do not betray Allah and do not betray His Prophet and do not betray the trust. Don't betray the trust. You have made trusts. You have made oath. Don't betray Allah. Don't betray His Prophet. Don't betray that trust. I said it. We have this natural instinct We all have that urge. But Islam, alhamdulillah, has given us ways on how to calm that urge, that sexual instinct. So this is why I said today is for the youth, but everybody could benefit and would benefit from this session. You have a car, Brother Kiko, you have a car. Or Umair, maybe you have a car, right? You have a car. So when you turn on the engine, then go drive. Don't turn on the engine and then you sit in the car and wait. Wait for what? Drive. You're waiting. Waiting for what? You're wasting gas. You're just wasting gas. You turn on the engine, drive. You don't turn on the engine and you sit in the car waiting for nothing. Or turn off the engine. You know what I'm trying to say here? Turn off the engine. When the engine is on, drive. Do halal. Go for marriage. Because the engine will turn on. Either you drive or turn it off. Turn it off. That's why I said Islam has given us guidelines on how to calm that urge, that sexual instinct. Something such as what? Ghadd al-basar. Ghadd al-basar. In Islam, in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla talks about it so much. Ghadd al-basar. Lower your gaze is one way to deal with that lust and with that urge. Number one. I know it's not easy, man. Did I say it's easy? No, it's not easy. But that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. When it's not easy, it's the beauty of it, subhanAllah. Things, when you put so much effort in them, you feel the sweetness of your ibadah. You feel the sweetness of that worship. Because you left it for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. You will feel that worship. You will enjoy that worship. You will feel the taste, the sweetness of that worship. When it is hard, when you make an effort. So lower your gaze. Number one. Number two, fasting. Na'am, fasting. Why the Prophet used to fast? Why, Mondays, Thursdays, and told us and told the youth, if you cannot get married, then help yourself by fasting. Get married if you can. If you cannot get married, then fast. That will help you, calm that urge, that sexual instinct. Busy yourself with sports. Sports is a very, very important thing. Play sports. Play lots of sports. We have that instinct, that urge. Go run. Run. Tire yourself up. Tire yourself. And go and come and take a nice cold shower or a shower. You'll feel, alhamdulillah, with some dhikr, with some fasting, with some qira'at al-Quran, you will be fine, inshaAllah ta'ala. So these are ways to urge or to calm that urge. Sports. Busy yourself with voluntary work. The more time you have, the more free time you have. This is deadly, brothers and sisters. It's deadly. The more free time you have, the more you will think of that urge. The more you go around the net looking for, who am I gonna, go out with tonight? Who am I gonna talk to? Who am I gonna send, ask me to send me this and send me, who am I, because you have free time. You have so much free time. Busy yourself. Volunteer. Go and contribute to, to the society. Do something good. Contribute. And to the dads and moms out there, help your daughters and help your sons get married. Don't make it, hard for them. She's 22, she's 20, she's 22, she's 23, she's 24. She wants to get married. Not yet, not yet. Why not yet? Until she finishes school, until she gets a job, until she gets this, until she gets that. And by the time she's 30 years old, what happened? What happened? Help them. If there's somebody, or if they were to introduce you to someone, be open to that, to the topic. Be open. Don't say, no, don't even talk to me about marriage. It's still early for you. Then your son will go and do something haram. If your son, khalas, start seeing him, he's growing, mashallah, a little bit beards, and he has some people showing, and then his voice starts talking, he starts, mashallah, having that rough voice. Khalas, that the boy is grown. Now naturally he will have that instinct. If you can help him get married, you may say, well, he's not ready. Okay, well, help him get ready, inshallah. Help him get ready. I think 25, for a boy is a very perfect age to get married. 25 for the boy, it's a perfect age, I think, for me to get married. But do help them. Help your children get married. Don't store your daughters, boys, dads out there. Don't store, because some are storing their daughters. And she's growing. And so many, I know this because I'm a marriage officer. I know I've got letters been written to me by so many subhanAllah girls saying so many boys have come asking me, to marry me, asking dad, to marry me, and that's been rejecting them. That's been rejecting them. That's been rejecting them. Why? Oh, she's still young. Still young. And also, sisters, one thing, please. Watch how you speak to boys and watch how you speak to men. Those who are not married. Watch how, watch your tone. Watch your tone. If you are in school, if you are at work, if you are in an Islamic environment, even in Islamic environment, and that happens that way, you're running a project or a retreat, brothers and sisters all together, right? And then you have to deal with some boys or some from your teammates, right? Watch your tone. Just talking to that boy, you may send him the wrong message. You know what I mean? You may send the wrong message with your tone, with your looks, with your eyes, with your body, movement. Be careful. Be careful. And I said, number two, I said that harassment, right? Harassment and flirting is one way of committing halal or haram, sexual relationships. Harassment or flirting is one haram relationship as well. Naam, haram, sex does not mean like, the act of sex. Flirting could lead to sex, so it's called also be haram. The flirting, the harassment, and and the way you talk and whatnot, these also could be into the same category of haram relationships. Remember, men we're different than women, and women are different than men. You could be so innocent, saying what you're saying, but maybe the guy would decode it, in the wrong way. Because the sign that he got is different than your sign, right? So he decoded your message in the wrong way. He says, let me tell you a story. I'll share a story with you. Well, when I first went to the US, I was like 18, 19 years old. 18, from Morocco. And in Morocco, when you go out and then a girl smiles at you, oh boy, she smiles at me. That means she likes me. And the boy would go and follow her. All right? And then, because she smiled at you. So that's why Moroccans don't smile. That's why Moroccans, they don't smile. Right? If a girl smiles at you in the street, you're in trouble. Khalas, So when I went to the US in San Francisco, right? I went to school in the university, and then I used to just go out in the in the dorms. And then you have these girls, in San Francisco, California. People are very nice. People are very friendly. Very, sympathetic people, and then they would go, and I would see girls smiling at me. This is what? She smiled at me, and then another girl smiling at me, and then another girl, I'm walking, she's smiling at me, like good morning. One says good morning, and one says hi, smiling. And I'm just walking, and I said, wow, where was I? Where was I? I wasted my time in Morocco. I should have been here. All these women, smiling at me. Really? Really? What was I? I thought that they all liked me. ilaha illallah, You see how we're built? So it's a problem. It's a problem. That's what I'm saying. Do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Be careful, be careful. La ilaha illallah. It happened when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet Muhammad, when people came to give him the bay'ah, some people came to give him the bay'ah, and amongst them was a boy, a young boy, very nice looking young boy. And then he noticed that the young boy, there was this jari, this woman was walking by, and then he touched her. And then the Prophet, he saw that. So these people, they came, this delegation, they came to shake the hand of the Prophet, and to give him the bay'ah, the oath of allegiance. So the Prophet was shaking, their hands, and then when this boy, this young man who touched that girl, on the street, he came, and he wanted to shake the Prophet's hand. The Prophet says, "No, I will not, no bay'ah from you. I don't know." He says, "Are you the one who touched that woman, that girl?" He said, "Yes, I am." He says, "No, don't shake my hand." He says, "Ya Rasulullah, I promise I will never do it again." He says, "You promise you'll never do it again?" That's harassment. That's sexual harassment. Sexual harassment, the Prophet considered it as haram. Why would you touch that woman? It will lead to something haram. So the Prophet, he refused to shake the hand of that boy because he touched that woman in the street. He did not want to, shake his hand. But the boy said, "Ya Rasulullah, I promise I will never do it again." Brothers and sisters, may Allah forbid, if you fall into, if a boy happens to do something haram and he did not know and he wants to make tawbah, what should he do then? Or what should she do then? There's a very important element in all this, something called friends. Because friends also, they lead you to do something not, they either lead you to be good or they mislead you to be bad. Friends. So we need to introduce friends into this. Since we're talking about the youth, we need to introduce friends into this puzzle, into this, the whole, chemistry here, because we need to talk about the whole thing. Those that lead you to be good and those that mislead you to be bad. Go and talk to her. I dare you. I dare you. Go and get her number. I dare you. Go and smile at her. I dare you. Go and ask her, her for her name. And, they start daring one another just for fun. But it's not fun. Remember, I said intimacy is a halal, is a sacred relationship. It's not a game. This is not the fun. This is not a game. This is a sacred relationship. So let me ask again, what happens if you fall into it? What happens about those friends? How to choose your friends? Do you know that there are 3 kinds of friends? Do you know that there are 3 kinds of friends? There are 3 types of friends. Do you know who they are? If you fall into haram, what would you do? How to choose your friends? And there are 3 types of friends. What are they? These are the questions I'm asking now. Do you want to know? Some of you already smelled it, don't you? Didn't you smell something happening now? Didn't you smell something slowly coming and slowly coming? Didn't you? Didn't you smell it? I smelled it from very far. I even smelled it before it came. What did you smell? A cliffy, absolutely cliffy hang. It's a cliffhanger. It's a cliffhanger, Mariana Muhammad. Here it comes. Yashmid, it is a cliffhanger, inshallah ta'ala, for tomorrow, talking more about youth and sex, more about youth and friends, more about youth and the future, more about youth and the family, and sisters and brothers at the very, very end, with the conclusion, talking to the whole family again, inshallah ta'ala. So please share this video. We're gonna, inshallah ta'ala, it's gonna be recorded and saved on Facebook, on YouTube. It's on Instagram as well, but I don't know about the sound on Instagram. But please share it with others. Share all of them. By that, you know what that means. Share all of them. Share the khair. Share the khair. Share with all your friends and all your, loved ones, inshallah ta'ala. Share with them these videos, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah bless you, and may Allah Azza wa Jal make all the words and all these lectures beneficial to you, something that you can learn something from, take heed from, inshallah ta'ala. And I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to help us to practice and to convey. Help us to practice and to convey, insha'Allah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and guide our children. May Allah guide us and guide our children, insha'Allah ta'ala, and protect us and protect our children. Protect them from every wrong and protect them from evil friends. Protect them from evil friends, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah Azza wa Jal save us all and save our loved ones, save our children, save our girls and boys, save our daughters and sons. Save our daughters and sons, insha'Allah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you. Jazakumullah khair, brothers and sisters. We'll see you tomorrow, insha'Allah ta'ala, for another session, right, of homemade happiness. Continuation of today's talk, insha'Allah. More about the youth and illegal sexual relationships. More about that tomorrow, bi'idhnillah. Jazakumullah khair. Barakallah fikum. Thank you, Nasima, for coming. Thank you, Khadija Muhammad. Thank you, Miriana. Thank you, Naseen Rice. Thank you, Khadija Muhammad Sheikh. Thank you, Lula Rob. Thank you, Munazza Ayub. Miriana, Nadia. Thank you, all of you there. Thank you, Yashmin. Thank you, Umair. Thank you, Mu'nisa. Thank you, Julaybib. Thank you, Umair. Thank you, Light Spread. You're coming late. We're done. Thank you, all of you out there. Who else? All the Facebook guys. All do Facebook and Instagram. May Allah bless you. Jazakumullah khair. Barakallahu fikum. We'll see you tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.